Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Arts and Wellness Cafe. I'm your host, Amanda, and sorry, we're dramatic. And I'm so pleased to welcome you. So thank you for joining me today. The word for today is a word that I've been dealing with for a while now. And the word for today, the word for this week is mindful. And it started out on Creating in Faith on the podcast, and it trickles down into Arts and Wellness, fly swat, Arts and Wellness Cafe. It's then gonna go and meet us in the Creative Gardener on Thursday. And so I say I've been dealing with this, but I've just had some challenging things that have happened that have made me really lean on that word and think about how I'm feeling. I have to think about how I'm feeling because I've allowed the situation to create an emotional response, a physical response within me. Anyway, so before we dive into that, because it's just like, you didn't come to hear me unburden, or did you? Have you got any? Maybe in a bit, I'll share a bit of it with you. But the idea of being mindful, mindfulness, the idea of, well, it's not the idea, but being aware of being aware of the current situation. Because, as I shared on the podcast, we can often go through things on, as I like to say, on automatic. So we find ourselves doing something not because for that moment we want to do it, but it might be, well, we've always done it that way, or we always do this at this particular time. Whenever I used to go into a petrol station, fill up my gas and go in and pay, in London, we have to, and in many other countries, I guess you pay in the shop. So you fill up yourself. So I'd go in and buy the tills chocolate, and I'd immediately reach for the chocolate and a packet of crisps. And I'd munch the crisps, and then I might buy 1 or 2 chocolates. So I'd have a chocolate in the car on the way to driving to my mum's, and then when I got there, I might, after she's gone to bed, I might have that then. But so that was just one of the examples I gave. And you can think about all the things that you do that maybe are not necessarily serving you, but because you're not thinking about how you're feeling in that, you carry on and you wonder why things aren't going the particular way they're going. And so I think we even have to be mindful of the way we would respond to things when we were younger. If you think about your current situation and you think about, well, how am I feeling about this? Am I feeling really comfortable, happy? Are things going what we call my way, or am I finding this a struggle? Am I feeling anxious about it? Or am I self-sabotaging a particular situation? And again, as I thought back, and I thought to how I was dealing with situations maybe now, I find that sometimes I forget that, you know, you're a grown woman, but not only that, you have gained achievements along the way. You've done things, and you've got your achievements book, which for me it lists all the things that I've done. Because you can sometimes forget, and it's the big things and the small things. You know, I passed my driving test. Yes, I passed it in the 3rd time, but it doesn't matter. I passed my driving test. There are some people who are on the 7th time, or who really want to learn to drive and can't. Or, you know, I had my son. I was really, you know, I feel that's an achievement. He's a lovely young man now, I keep saying he's 26, but 25. And, you know, I made the decision to become an artist. I have won awards for my art. I've done X, Y, and Z. And, or I, you know, got my first online art course that I taught on 5 years ago, or was it 5 years ago? It might have been, yeah, actually, maybe slightly earlier. But so it's all those things that I've listed that I have to remind myself when I get into a situation where I'm almost sabotaging. It's almost that I can't believe that I've actually got to this particular point, or you just think that it's the imposter syndrome, where, you know, you just feel that people are going to find out that I'm not who I say I am, and it's just like, what are you talking about? You know, what does that mean? That you're not who you say you are, or, you know, people are going to find out that what, you know, there's nothing that, you know, you have to hide. So it's just like, or people are not going to like it, or people are not going to like what I offer. And at the end of the day, can you hear that? I think you heard it last week. It's the there's a bird's nest just outside the door, and I think there's about 2 or 3 chicks in there, and they make that noise when the mother comes back, or the father, to feed them. But generally they're quiet. But being mindful. So in that moment, I stopped what I was doing, and I was mindful about the things that were going on. But the reason why I talked about things in the past is because you could be feeling a particular way when certain things come up, and you're responding from a 20-year-old perspective, or 20 years ago perspective. And that, funnily enough, happened to me only this morning. So let's launch into me now. How long have you got? But haven't you noticed, before I start, so we don't normally use these mugs, but what I find is, not what I find, okay, when we were growing up, my mother every Easter would buy us these cups with an Easter egg in it. So then throughout the year, that was the cup that you used. You always use your own cup. And which just grew up like, you know, that's what, everybody had their cup, everybody had got an Easter egg, and so, you know, we loved our cups, we had the chocolate and everything. And so, as my older self now, I've got my favourite cup that I have tea in. Now everybody wants to use it. It's just like, it doesn't matter what cup it is that I decide, yeah, okay, this is going to be my cup, or I go out and buy a specific cup. Somebody wants to crack an egg in it, somebody wants to have tea in it. It's just like, look how many other cups there are, and you have to use the one that I want to use exclusively. And we had these, I'd never used it, nobody had ever used it. Now since I'm using it, everybody else wants to use it. Anyway, so the thing that kind of made me feel, well, I think it started yesterday, and do you know what, I can't even remember what happened yesterday, but what happened yesterday? Anyway, somebody, yeah, something happened yesterday. But and what it was essentially, without going into detail, it was, normally this person will call on me if a situation happened. They'd call on me, and I'd help them deal with the situation. Only small, like, you know, something that they could have done themselves, but they're insecure about dealing with it, so I help them. So let me just tell you, a big giant grasshopper, I think it was a cicada. I was on the phone and I went into my bedroom, and this thing is there on the wall, and then it starts to jump. So I scream, run out, and I called my son and I said, look, can you help me? Oh, no, you need, yeah, no. Yeah, that's you, Sakani. Anyway, but so he said, oh yeah, I saw it when it was outside. I was just like, but why didn't you do something about it? Anyway, so that kind of mildly annoyed me because he wasn't willing to help in the situation. That's the young for you, eh? I mean, think back to when you were 26. What were you like? I mean, I weren't living at home with my parents, so I did everything on my own, and normally I would have dealt with it. I mean, I deal with the mice, I deal with cockroaches, I deal with all the bugs. The amount of bugs, new bugs I've seen since coming to Barbados that I've never seen in my life before, that you just think, oh, okay, let's deal with that. So it was like, yeah, the one time, it felt like the one time you ask for help and it's not forthcoming. But then today I had to make a call. Now, I've been dealing with this particular situation for 5 years. Apparently this is how long it takes to sort out, but over the last few years it's been handled more swiftly. Other people's cases have been handled more swiftly, and so they've managed to get the same result in 2 months. So I'm ringing and ringing and ringing. For the last 2 weeks I've been ringing. I've got about 8 numbers. I've been ringing, no answer. Managed to get one person. Oh yes, you know, I'm going to sort it out. Now trying to get hold of this person, oh, they're not here. It's just like, they told me they weren't going to hear on this particular day, and now you're telling me every day that I ring they're not there. You know, can't somebody else deal with it? So I spent the better part of this morning, about an hour, just re-ringing these numbers. I must have left at least 5 messages, and then I spoke to reception 3 times, and then because every number she was putting me through to, there was nobody picking up. And then I called her the 4th time, and then she gave me the numbers, the direct line numbers, but still nobody's picking up. And it's just like, there's knock-on effects to this thing not being sorted out, because it should have been sorted out by now. You assumed that they would contact you. Well, that's what we were told, you know, they'd contact you when it was ready, and I've not had anything. And so when I finally, you know, I spoke to the receptionist, and then I rang the number she gave me, three numbers she gave me. I rang them 2 times each, left a message on one. I just felt really heavy. So it was just here. I get this feeling here, like as if you're going to get a headache, but there's this just a weighty feeling here. My eyes feel tired, and I just feel like I don't even want to do anything. And I thought to myself, isn't it funny how this particular situation has made you feel like that? I mean, I'm still feeling like my eyes feel tired, because you never felt like that this morning. When you got up, you were raring to go. You know, last night you had things that you were gonna, you know, you'd made your list and everything. But this, having to ring and try and sort this out, has made you feel like, oh, there's another thing that's not working. And I'm not that person. Like, you know, I'm very optimistic. I know that, yeah, I'm a very optimistic person, and I generally, it's just like, okay, look, I'm not even going to stress over this, because that's what I then had to say to myself, because that's what stress does, and it kind of gives you a pain over your your right eye. And then something else happened on my phone, and I couldn't post something, and it was just like, oh my gosh, you know, is this now gonna... This is part of me that said that. As I say, it's not me generally. But part of me said that, oh my gosh, I would say, is this part over here? Oh my gosh, you know, what's gonna happen? You know, I'm not gonna be able to sort this out. And then it was just like, just step back, step away, leave it. You've rung this morning try again this afternoon, and I think they finish at 4 o'clock. And you just have to keep ringing, leaving messages, bombard them with telephone calls and emails, and just then see what happens. Or see, you don't want to go down there, because then you could be standing in line for like a couple of hours and then be told, you know, oh no, we can't help you, which is what the receptionist said. So the being mindful enabled me to throw a different light on it. You know, okay, it's not stopping you from doing what the list of things you needed to do. Yes, you want to sort it out, and they should have sorted it out within these 5 years. You shouldn't even have to be ringing them to remind them. But take a breath, because somebody could be, you know, signing the forms and doing whatever. The other thing was, I wanted to pick it up. It's a certificate, and they said, oh no, we'll post it. I was just like, do you know how much I had to pay to sort this out for you to then post it? And the postage, we know what the postage has been like. I received a two Christmas cards that was posted on the 12th of December. Didn't receive that until it must have been the 15th of March. So I don't think so, because I need this like yesterday. Anyway, but being mindful, you have to then think about things, how you can take yourself out of what the stress ball was and regain your sense of peace. And that has to be practiced. So for me, I sat in it, and then I started saying to myself, okay, you know, leave it for now. Go and do something for you. Sit down and just relax for a minute. Go and have a cup of tea, or, you know, go and take a walk, or ring them back at this particular time. Have you, you know, think about a strategy for dealing with this. And so that's what I've done. Yesterday I didn't do any calls. It was just like, just leave it for today. You know, somebody could be getting ready to call you. So I left it. And I guess that was the annoying thing, that, you know, when I then came today, it's just like, you're still not getting through to anybody, but everybody's supposed to be at work. You know, this is an important department. You know, I mean, so what I'm doing now is a cycle of going over it. So again, being mindful, take myself out of the situation. I've made that decision to call later on, and to not be emotionally invested in that call, because the situation is not going to impact anything today. It's not going to impact anything for the next week, unless I'm asked for a specific piece of documentation. Then I won't be able to, you know, then I'll have to say, well, I'm waiting on things to be sorted out. But it's important to then also, because this is kind of transferred, it hasn't transferred itself anywhere, but made decisions over some of the things that I've been doing, which I will share. So think about your art now and your creativity, your creative walk, and how it's important to be mindful in that. And I think it's important for us to see our creativity as an everyday thing. Now, you don't have to get out loads of paints and, you know, be involved or heavily involved for like a couple of hours. It could be that you have different activities that you can do. Say it could be art journaling, it could be writing, it could be walking and taking photographs, looking at your surroundings, hearing the sounds, and being aware of your surroundings. And that's something that you need to be doing on a daily basis, so that the act of mindfulness, or the act of stillness, which we covered, is about, recognizing what you're standing in, recognizing what your emotions are, recognizing how you're feeling. How is this situation making me feel about myself? Is the way I'm feeling about myself remnants from when I was a child, remnants from a particular situation that the child in me wasn't able to navigate? And so for every situation, for every kind of situation that you find yourself in, you have to have a quick mental check and say, okay, well, how am I feeling now? Are my responses based on how I'm feeling now, what I can see, and what it is I want? Or is it my perception of what I think the person is thinking about me, the me that 20 years ago didn't know what she wanted, or 30 years ago, and am I responding from that perspective rather than the me that is standing here, that has got loads of experience, that has seen many things, done many things, achieved many things? And so that's one of the ways in which I want you to look at the word, but also recognize, where you are. Recognize where you are all the time, and not just, okay, I'm in Barbados, or I'm in England, or wherever, but where you are in regards to where you want to be. Because where you are and where you want to be, there's not much distance, in the sense of, if you along the space continuum, and if you bend it, you're here. So initially you're here, but you want to be here. But if you bend it, you're actually closer to where you want to be. I don't know what that's called, but or 6 degrees of separation. So where you want to be, the distance between that could just be your perception of who you are. And once you change your perception of who you are, you then make the steps to get to where you want to be, because you're no longer holding on to insecurities or doubts or fears, but you're sitting in the, I know what I want, these are the things I want, and these are the steps that I needed to take. Now, if I said, okay, so I'm an artist and I want to be an astronaut, that jump is very unlikely, because they'll say, well, you're too old, or they'll say, you, in terms of the training, or you're unfit, or you're this or that. So there is looking at realistically, but I don't, I'm not, you can't discount things, but that particular example is the unrealistic example. I'm never going to be an astronaut, but there are other things that I want to do that is not on that kind of scale where you just think. People start training from their early 20s. So if you're not in your early 20s, you can't put in the training that's needed, or the studying. And do you really want to be an astronaut? So think about, your heart's desires, and what you feel. And you hear people using these words, like your calling, your purpose, but just think about the things that you want to do. Just think about the things that you want to do, and know that all things are possible and you can achieve. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go have a little break, and I will show you this book. This book is called Intertwined, and is a book for fibre lovers. Now, I do love fibres, and as a mixed media artist, when I saw this, I was in my weaving stage and spinning. So I wasn't spinning, but spinning cotton. And so I saw this on one of my trips to the UK, and so I brought it. It's a really heavy book. It really weighed down my suitcase. But it says The Art of Handspun Yarn, Modern Patterns and Creative Spinning. So let's take a look at this book and then let me know what you think. So here we have the book Intertwined, The Art of Hand-Spun Yarn, Modern Patterns and Creative Spinning. Now the thing that attracted me immediately was all of this beautiful yarn on the front. It is written by Lexi Boga, and it's produced by Quarry Books. So it says on the back that this book is a book for fibre lovers. Enjoy an intimate look at the interconnectedness of all members of the fibre community, from the wool farmers, the dyers, the spinners, to the knitters, the crocheters, and everyone who touches and is touched by these lovely hand-spun fibres. This thoughtful book presents a feast for the eyes, inspiration for the mind, and projects for the hands. Lexi Boga follows up her wildly popular self-published first book, Plucky Fluff, Handspun Revolution, with this beautiful new volume containing reflections on the evolving and highly creative art of the hand spinning. The book includes thoughts on how to balance new techniques with a respect for tradition, recipes for spinning, non-traditional yarns, illustrated journal entries, documented experimental creations, exciting patterns and projects, ideas and tips on working with unusual yarns, and a gallery of luscious photographs. Now, I think this is a lovely book, and as I say, I was attracted to it. I'm a beginner in hand spinning cotton, and I just wanted to have a book that would give me some more insight, and this actually does. You know, it gives you some beautiful imagery, not only of the natural world, but how it's recreated in the textile world, and it's full of inspiring yarn. And I say inspiring yarn because they just absolutely look beautiful, and you just want to be able to create and, you know, potentially make. Now, it also tells you the type of yarn you can use for different types of work, and it encourages you to experiment. It encourages you to not only learn the techniques for doing something, but then breaking the rules. You know, once you know how to do something, it's then easy to, say, maybe add your own flair or combine several at the same time. Now, all of the projects, it gives you a selection of projects that you can wear or you can make, and it also tells you the type of skills that are required. Sometimes you may need to be able to read patterns, but it's definitely a doable thing. If you are new to it, then, you know, take in the information and learn what's here, but you will have some lovely projects that you can also then go on to do. It's definitely a book for those who are interested in textiles and textile arts, and even those who are wanting to learn how to work with textiles. And I think it's a lovely book to be able to help you think out of the box and experiment, because, I mean, when did you last see shredded paper used in yarn, and how this is a lovely book, and it shows you how to do it. If you want to do it, it shows you how to do it. and the colours are beautiful. And it shows you again all the different techniques, and it shows you at a glance how you need to do it, how you need to hold your hands. So it's definitely one I would suggest that you get, and it's one that you can, you know, dip in and out of, and, you know, read it and experiment and then come back. She also has a selection of artists who also share some of their stories and some of their projects, and it's again nice to be able to get different artists' perspective on creating different things, as well as, you know, the main artists as well. So yeah, it's got a lot of different projects that you can be getting on with. And at the back it gives you resources, and if you want to learn more of particular techniques, all the contributors that you can also connect with. So this is a lovely book, definitely, and it's definitely one worth having as a mixed media artist. It's definitely one worth having in your kit. Okay, welcome back. What did you think? It's quite a nice book. It's got some really nice yarns and things like that. I mean, I do have quite a lot of yarn, but it's, you know, when I started out crocheting, I used to get loads of, I started buying loads of, you know, wool and things like that. So I've got loads of those things which I'm now using in, so greedy. You can't see them because they're well cocooned. Anyway, so yeah, I've got loads of colours, and I've never really crocheted anything. I've crocheted squares and flowers, that's it. So I started using them in woven projects, and it was just like, oh, actually, this is what they were meant for in terms of my process and me actually producing something. And I've also started to learn, well, I haven't started to learn to knit. I can knit, but I've never knitted anything. I just knitted, like, you know, oh, I can show you. Yes, I can. Oh, I brought this wool. I've got this wool. It's beautiful chocolate brown, but this is the knitters are like, is that it? But that's, you know, knit one and purl one. No, purl and whatever. I don't know all the terms. I can't yet read a pattern, but I can do this, you know. And I taught myself to read crochet pattern, but I've got loads of needles but never really use them, and it's just like, why don't you try and knit something? But, and I'll never say never, it's not really my thing to knit garments, but as I said, I'll never say never. I do want to do more kind of mixed media work with wool and incorporating the weaving and knitted pieces. But so I did that book review on Intertwined, and I decided I wanted to I haven't read like a novel for the longest. I normally just have, you know, process books, art books, and I've been going through a load of those. So one of my favourite authors is Octavia Butler. So I found this, it's called Bloodchild, and I've got most of her books, and I've got a couple on Kindle, but I brought them when I was in the UK, and I'm not sure where they are now. I'm not sure whether I'd lent them out. I don't like lending out books because you never get them back. And if you're going to lend it out, no, you're not going to get it back. So Like I wouldn't lend out my art books. They're just too precious for me. But anyway, I'm going to start reading this. I just thought, you know, just there's a change from, you know, these books where you're learning something all the time. So I'm going to start that. So there's a couple of things I wanted to quickly show you now. Oh, I was going to show you an art journal I've made. I'll show you this one. It's just quite a cute one. I just finished it today, and it's made from envelopes. So I'll probably do a video of how you can make one of these and actually fill it up. And I've got all this glitter, so I was finding ways to add glitter to the pages. I just really want to, you know, it's just one of those supplies that I didn't realise I had so much, and I just want to use it up. I don't want it, I'm not going to get any more. I don't want to save it, I just want to use it up. So we're going to be doing a lot of projects with glitter on it. Okay, so I'll tell you it might be bad news or sad news for some. I'm not sure, it's not going to necessarily be good news for anybody, but so I've been doing this 100 embroidery stitches, and this is the book. This is what I had made to put them in. I'd made it prior and then found that, yeah, it feels right. So the embroidery, some of the main ones are in there, all of them are in there. So I'm probably halfway, and I'd already prepped the other cloths that I was going to use in here. But as I've been working on them over the past, really kind of over the past couple of weeks, my hands have been hurting, and mainly, so I'm right-handed, so when I do that, this bit has been hurting. So I made the decision, on top of my hand hurting, I was looking through the stitches that I've got left to do, and I was just like, I am not inspired by these stitches. I don't particularly want to do them. Plus, I was thinking to myself, the main stitches I mostly use is, you know, I do use the sewing machine, but the main stitches, hand stitches I use is, I've got about 5, say between 10, under 10 stitches that I use. So these other stitches, whilst I can learn them, I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to do it anymore. Plus my hand's hurting, and I don't want that to jeopardise other pieces that I want to embroider, because I'm doing these 100 stitches, and, you know, I'm feeling pain in my hand, and if anything happens, you know, I'm right-handed. As a mixed media artist, it's going to affect other work. So I'm putting the 100 embroidery stitches to bed. I will fix up the book, and I'll probably continue. I haven't yet decided what I'm going to continue with, and it might be the other 50 might be 50 journals, art journals. I'll share 50 art journals, and maybe do a page in each of them. But I don't want to jeopardize future work. I don't want to put any more strain on my wrist and my hands. So that's just something that I need to really, again, it's about being mindful about where you are. I don't feel bad about it at all. I don't feel sad about it. I don't feel, I feel relief. You know, it's just, you know, what are the things that you're doing? Because you don't want other people to think badly about you. Sorry, let me just look, my baby. Somebody gave me a spider plant. So I've got 3 of them. One I'm keeping in the house, and this one I'm going to have in the studio. I'm going to put it up somewhere so we can have a nice plant in here. But yeah, you know, you're doing things because other people, you told other people you're going to do it, and it's not really serving you. So the next thing I want to quickly show you is some fabric, but we're going to change the angle and we'll look down at some of the fabric that I've been doing. I'm more excited about that. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so what I thought I'd show you first is, I'll go through some of the stitches that I've been doing, and then I'll show you another exciting project that I'm working on. Well, I'm excited about it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through this. I'm not gonna like list them. But yeah, if you want to see them close up, you can see them on my Instagram, and they're all there. So I've been thinking, as I said, about what I'm going to do going forward, and what I think I will do is, for the next 50 days, is to share some of the stitch projects that I've done. I think that's probably the best way forward. It'll give my hand a rest, and I can actually work on projects that I want to finish, as opposed to, you know, stressing myself out with some of these really intricate, some of the stitches in this book is really intricate, but yeah, I think, you know, health-wise, that for me comes first. And I've got my stitches here. I think 50 stitches for me is more than enough, and these are the ones that I'm going to use probably on a regular basis. So and I've done a particular project. One of them I've shown you already. If you look on my Instagram, it's a face, 2 faces. Some of these fill-in stitches and some of the patterns and things like that are what I would actually use. But anyway, let's get on. So I've been experimenting with pigments and looking at how to extract pigments from, say, plants, flowers and leaves. And I've got bougainvillea, I've got the aloes. It's done something, it's gone kind of gelatinous, if that's the right word. The flowers from the aloes. I've got henna, clitoria tenae, I think. I'm not sure what's happening in that one. But I use them on fabrics, and I will go through them. And I've got one that's called Jacob's Coat, and what I think's happening actually is it's separating, so the water is coming to the top and the pigment is at the bottom. So I need to put it in something. I was trying to think what I could put it in to enable the water to evaporate, and so that I can be left with the pigment. So I think I have to put it in something flat and allow it to evaporate. Anyway, and I've got some strong tea, and that, look at this. I mean, for those of you who already, you know, dye your papers and things like that, I did like a tie-dye effect with the tea bag. So I was quite pleased with that. But more importantly, for me, I would like to, I've been, you know, dyeing fabric and looking at how I use the fabric that I've dyed in my own project. So we'll start here. So first of all, I've used avocado seed to dye lots of lovely fabric, and I'm really pleased with the way these turned out. And I used the avocado pulped up the seed and used it as a resist on fabric, and it's given me, I used it in a stencil, and I've got that lovely scrumptious designs, and then this one. So aren't they pretty? I mean, you've got the sun coming through, but I'm not sure how much you can see. But it's the sun setting on this side now, so I haven't yet got a sufficient screen that I can use, and then fold it back with the, what is it, the Marie Kondo method, so that it can stand up. She says, can it stand up? Can that, not bad. Anyway, so I did quite a bit of dyeing with avocado seed. I kind of just go mad, really, with it. I just got so excited at what you could do, and I wanted to make sure that I had explored all different angles, so I get, that's pretty, isn't it? That one's pretty. I forgot how pretty they were, but what I really want to show you is coming up. And I'll do a separate video so that I can spend a bit longer going through these for you to see each one. What else have I got in here? And then I did I think I used, what did I use on this? The henna, was it the henna, and then other dyes? Yeah, there's a bit of plant, there's a bit of plant material there. And in all of them I've been using wax, and you get a really nice pattern on there. I think with this one, I think I was just a bit too heavy-handed with the inks, so I'm just gonna probably do some of these again. But I like it anyway. It's giving you random, you'll not find anything like it. Now let's, the lovely pieces. I'm really excited about these ones. Just, yeah, you can see. Is it really, really bright? Actually, no, it's not too bad. So this would have been, if I had, it would have been better. I have used wax, and I've used it's just a red dye, so I didn't do any, it wasn't eco dyeing, but I didn't realise what a lovely red it was. So there's that. And then I'm trying to go in order of the way I did it. And then this one I used a terracotta clay. I started experimenting with clay, terracotta clay and ordinary clay and wax. I'd put the wax in these bits, the larger bits, and put the terracotta and the ordinary clay, and I really loved this. And then I dipped it in it's a nasturtium, the colour is nasturtium dye. And then I did this one. As I say, I will kind of go through them a bit slower. How slow can you go? Anyway, I'm going to whiz through this because I don't want the Arts and Wellness Cafe to be too long. Anyway, so this is pretty, isn't it? Okay, and I'll show you one of this is clay. So I've used the clay and wax. I love that. And I've been using plant materials, so I'll show you this one. You'll have to come back and see my other video if you want to see the plant materials. So this is I'd put the wax down, and then I got the plants, pounded them. I've got a little, what do you call it? What do you call this? Pounder thing. What do you call it? It just left me. So this is Mexican sunflower. It was a lot yellower before, and I'm hoping that as the Mexican sunflower evaporates, as this evaporates, then we will see a brighter colour. This is a tea bag, So as I say, this was a lot yellower, and this is Jacob's coat, which is a very kind of deep purple brown leaf, but it's given us a really nice red. And this is bougainvillea, and they look very similar. This is a red bougainvillea leaf, and I'm really interested to know what the other coloured leaves look like. So I think I'd got a fairly recent decent result from the ones that I'd been working with, and this is just like a cotton sheet that I've just cut up. But I do like the effects that I've got from some of the dyes, and what I'll need to do is keep better notes as to what happened here and what happened there. But the main things that I want to work with is the plant materials and getting pigments and the clay. Is that there? Yeah. So I hope that that's been insightful, and I hope that, you know, when I think about changing a project halfway through, I mean, before I would have just like, oh no, I've got to stick it to the end. But I think I've done 50 stitches is more than enough for me to use, and I want to have practical uses for everything that I do. And I have to also think about the other work that I do, and how, you know, that intensive daily stitching is affecting my hand. But as I say, if I'm working on, say, imagery that I'm creating as a stitch project, I don't get as much of a stiffness in my hand, and maybe I need to get like a wrist support as well. But I hope that you've been able to think about mindfulness, being mindful in everything that you do, and that you can think about how it impacts on your creativity, and vice versa, how your creativity can impact on your health and well-being. So take care for now, and I will see you very soon.